super excited to share something quite cool with all of you. And that is, of course, the fact that Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is going to be getting a huge, ginormously fantastic DLC pack called The Legends of the Lawn, which is a very, very cool title. And of course, it will be releasing tomorrow on September 30th. So very, very exciting stuff. Tons and tons of things to discuss. You might have noticed that over the last week or so, many of the people who work on Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare have begun posting these really, really cool posters of the new characters that we're going to be getting in the game, including the Centurion, the Plasma Pea, the Chomp Thing, and so on and so forth. So, not only are we going to be getting those characters, but we're going to be getting a new game mode, tons of customizable stuff, and without further ado, why don't we go ahead and dive on into all of the goodies that are going to be coming up on the Legends of the Lawn pack. So let's begin by taking a look at all of the new characters. So kicking things off on the plants side of things, and we will be, of course, taking a look first and foremost at the one, the only Jade Cactus, a brand new cactus class that is going to be available to us. But you might have noticed right away a key difference about the Jade Cactus versus the other cactuses is the fact that the Jade Cactus actually enjoys a nice health boost. It's an armored up kind of version of the cactus class, so you get an additional 25 hit points on top of what you would typically get, which is 125. So this one enjoys actually 150, which is quite cool indeed, allowing you to be in more of those kind of serious battles against multiple opponents, which is quite cool indeed. And additionally, the Jade Cactus also has a very, very interesting weapon where the needles, upon hitting the ground, they will actually take 1 second or so and then they blow up, so you can kind of time your attack better, and it requires a little bit more strategizing in advance. It's going to be a very, very interesting character to play indeed. So let's move on to the next plant. Alrighty, so next up for Team Plants, it is, of course, a new Chomper class. Very, very, very cool indeed, and it is actually a very cool one because it's a little bit of an homage, a little bit of a reference to, of course, Swamp Thing. It is known as Chomp Thing, and that is quite neato indeed. It definitely looks like one of the most bizarre chompers that we've gotten, which is definitely something to be said for that, because we've gotten some really strange chompers. But this one looks super duper interesting. It's got all this like moss all over it, and I don't know, I just really like the aesthetics of this guy. He's quite neat indeed. But not only is he really cool aesthetically, he's actually going to add a little bit of an interesting gameplay mechanic to the Chomper class, which basically allows him to enter regeneration state quicker. So if you know, of course, when you take a little bit of damage and then you back off and you're not taking damage for a little while, you enter a regeneration state where your health will slowly start to replenish it. Well, this Chomper actually enters that state quicker, which means that it's going to be quite an interesting class, and I have a feeling like this might be one of the most popular Chompers as a result of that, just because I think that that element, that ability, is definitely going to be quite handy, especially in those little tricky situations when you've got multiple enemies around you. So, very, very, very cool Chomp Thing, looking quite stylish and profilish. So last but certainly not least, for the Plants team, we have a brand new flower class, which is quite neato indeed, and that is, of course, the Alien Flower, who looks quite awesome indeed. I think that I cannot wait to get some customization items on this guy, because just the core design of this guy looks really, really fun. The colors, everything looks really, really cool, and I cannot wait to put him in some of those really goofy blink pack outfits and such. It's going to look quite absurd and fun. But nonetheless, this is actually an alien flower that was a little bit inspired apparently by The Last of Us, where you know how The Last of Us revolves around the idea of spores and kind of the idea around all of that. So the element here really is that basically the way that this alien flower will work is that, similar to the Jade Cactus, you kind of have to plant your attack ahead if you want to have the most effectiveness with this guy. And what I mean by that is that apparently when he hits a target, let's say once you shoot down at the floor where the enemy is expected to come through, then there will be a cloud of kind of spores or something along those lines that appears, and then basically that creates an area which will then damage the enemies over a little period of time. So basically what you can do is, let's say you're playing Garden Ops, you could shoot down at the ground where you know that there's a lot of brown coat zombies coming in, or just zombies coming in, and then as they walk through they will take damage, which is a really interesting new mechanic. So I'm very, very much much looking forward to see how this will be exploited, and more importantly, I want to see the application for multiplayer matchups, because I think that's where it's going to be really intriguing to see whether or not a lot of people will work as a group or maybe together to, you know, shoot at one target where there's an expectation there's a lot of enemies coming through, and whether or not that damage can stack from the spores, because you could probably exploit that and do quite a bit of damage to the enemy side. So now let's go on ahead and jump on over to the brains, aka the zombie side of things, of course, and we will kick things off with the All-Star class, or more importantly, the Golf Star class. This will be a brand new All-Star class, which is known as the Golf Star, and this one is very, very different to what we have come to be used to with the All-Star. You know, we typically expect the All-Star to just be kind of this big hulking menace that just walks in with its Gatling gun variations and just rattles off on the enemies in sight. But this class is a little bit different because it is actually possible to play long-ranged with this class. The zoom-in has been upgraded so that you could kind of zoom in further with this class, a little bit more precise with the golf balls and everything, which is quite cool. So you almost kind of somewhat almost exploit a sniper-like class with the Golf Star. So I think that that's going to be very, very interesting, because I think that for me personally, I don't play the Golf Star, or sorry, the All-Star very, very well, because I'm not very good at like very close combat situations. But maybe the Golf Star is going to change that for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Alrighty, next up, another addition to my personal favorite class of course, zombies, and that is the Foot Soldier class. And we're going to be getting a really cool Foot Soldier inspired by, of course, the Roman time period. And that is going to be the Centurion, looking quite awesome indeed. Some really cool armor for him. And he's going to have a single-shot, semi-automatic rifle. But then additionally to that, you're going to be able to do fire damage on impact, which means that he's going to be quite a fun character to play as indeed. Cannot wait to try this guy out. So next up after that, we have an addition to the Engineer subclass, and this is the Sanitation Expert, aka the Garbage Man, I'm assuming. Well, this guy looks quite cool. In fact, he kind of reminds me of like a character, like a design from like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Some people might disagree with me, but I don't know. He just, the way that he's got this giant trash can on his back, full of course, a whole bunch of garbage and stuff, it just... the whole approach around this character kind of reminds me of something that we would see in an episode of the Ninja Turtles. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking that, but just because of that factor alone, I know I'm going to play this guy quite a bit. In fact, I have been playing the Engineer more and more often lately, so I'm very much looking forward to try this variation, especially now that I've made up this kind of storyline in my head that he is a part of the Ninja Turtles universe. I'm not sure if most people will agree with me, but I certainly think so. He looks quite awesome indeed. Now last and certainly not least as well, for the zombie side of things, the fourth zombie character. So actually this time we are getting more zombies, which is something that I'm very happy to see, because it seemed like we were getting a lot of new plans for a little while there, and the zombies were kind of being ignored. They didn't get much love, so I'm very happy that we're getting some more zombies. But nonetheless, the zombie this time is actually an upgrade, or another variation, I should say, to the Scientist class, and that is going to be the Paleontologist, which is quite a difficult word for me to pronounce for some reason. But I'm sure that Ross is quite happy from Friends to see this class in this game just as much as I am, because it comes with a really awesome Triceratops armor. I mean, this thing just looks absolutely fantastic. I think that visually this is the coolest of the new characters, just because, again, he's wearing a dinosaur. I mean, can you argue with that? Excuse me. Listen. There's a zombie that is going to be wearing a Triceratops on their body. I mean, that's it. Nothing. I don't need to say anything else, except for the fact that not only that, but he also shoots like magma rocks, which basically will deal heat damage and molten lava damage onto the enemy, so it's kind of like the burning effect as well. So, yeah, he sounds pretty awesome indeed. Very much looking forward to try this guy out. In fact, I think this is going to be the first character I play as once the DLC comes out. So there you guys have it. That is the incredible roster of new characters that we are going to be getting in the new expansion of Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. Of course, Legends of the Lawn. I love that name. I don't know why. I really love just saying Legends of the Lawn. I've been saying it with a lot of different accents. But nonetheless, of course, that will not be all. Not only are we getting the 7 new characters, which is awesome, and of course, don't forget, what I always say about Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is that it's always free DLC, and that is, at least that has been the case so far, and I love that. I love the fact that not only do they support the community, but they support the community in a very, very active manner, and they give us a lot of really, really cool free stuff all the time, just because we enjoy the game and we are invested into it both financially and of course emotionally, but then we are rewarded for our investment with more and more content consistently, which is super duper cool. So additionally to the new characters that we're receiving, we're actually going to receive 200 additional, actually over 200 additional customizable items, which is quite cool indeed. And they've also given us a brand new kind of element that is going to be called kind of like a set or a pack. And we saw that with the plasma pea shooter that they showed us, where you can see that he's inspired by Mass Effect armor, and that is kind of like a set, and you can see that it all works together. And that's quite cool because you'll be able to get like a complete look going, or of course if you want, you could borrow certain elements from that and customize it to your own liking. But again, I like the idea that now they're giving us sets so that you could kind of have like, okay, here is the set for this kind of look, or here's the set for Wolfman kind of look, or whatever it is. You can kind of play around with that element now, and I think that that's quite a cool idea. Another way to kind of change up customization and give us a more complete looking character at a time. So that's quite cool indeed. Additionally to the customizable items, we're also going to get some new gestures, which is of course going to make for some hilarious moments online. But that is still not all, because on top of all of that, we're also going to be receiving some brand new consumables. So it seems like we've had the same set of consumables for a little while now, so it's quite nice to get some new ones. We're going to be getting one new plant consumable, which is going to be the laser bean, which of course you might have seen before on Plants vs. Zombies 2. It's About Time. Quite a handy little fella indeed, so looking forward to see how he will play and how useful he will be in, of course, the Garden Ops modes. But on top of that, we're going to be getting 4 brand new zombies, which again, it seems like the zombies are getting a lot of love with this DLC pack, which is a-okay with me. So first off, the most interesting of the bunch, in my opinion, is a zombie called the Heal Zombie. And basically what he's going to be able to do is once you spawn him in, he's not going to be super duper powerful or anything, but his goal is, just like his name, to heal other zombies. So he'll walk around and try to heal the zombies that have been damaged. So that makes him a bit of a pain to deal with if you're playing on Garden Ops. If he spawns against you, definitely not fun. Or, of course, if you're playing Gardens and Graveyards and somebody summons him against you, it definitely becomes a little bit of a pain, because imagine you could summon a really strong zombie, then your friend summons the heal zombie, and those work together, and they kind of, like, you know, the heal zombie keeps healing the stronger zombie, making him that much more of a pain to deal with. So that's a really cool new zombie that has been added. Now, some of the other zombies included are going to be the Yeti Imp, which, of course, we have seen him before in the Garden Ops waves, but now he's actually going to become a consumable, so that's quite cool. And speaking of Garden Ops, we will also be getting the backup dancers, which we have seen before with, of course, the disco zombie. And additionally, we're also going to get the vampire zombie, which is, of course, the little background, almost kind of like backup dancers to Baron Von Bats, who was added on the last, I think, DLC pack, wasn't it? So yeah, very cool that we're getting some new consumables. Of course, I'm pretty sure that the backup dancer and the vampire zombie are not going to be particularly strong. I have a feeling like they're just basically brown coat zombies, kind of reskinned with their particular design. So again, it's an aesthetical change, but at least it's still more variation in consumables and a little bit more fun in the variety of consumables that you can own. So, as if all that wasn't enough, there will still be some additional elements added. There will be 2 new changes to Garden Ops. We're going to get a new triangulation challenge, as well as 5 new special waves, which will use some of the new characters that we just discussed, including, of course, also 4 elite waves, which is quite neat indeed. And you might have seen throughout the entire gameplay that I have showcased to you that there's a brand new game mode going on. And if you haven't, there's a brand new game mode going on. And this new game mode is going to be called the Taco Bandits, which is basically kind of like a capture the flag type gameplay design. But as you can see, it's a little bit different, where it seems like you kind of take the tacos from a taco stand and then you have to run them to the Zomboss alien spaceship. And then obviously kind of like sucks up the taco. So it's a bit of a more of a faster paced game mode. At least that's what it seems like to me. Very much looking forward to try it out. Looks quite interesting. And I guess it kind of like to a certain element, it's not really capture the flag, because there isn't 2 flags being changed. It's kind of a singular flag where you as the plants protect the flag, or in this case protect the taco, and you as the zombies try to steal the taco. So again, very, very goofy, very fun, very, very much in line with the Plants vs. Zombies universe and the humor that that universe offers. So, with all that being said, guys, there you have it. That is the Legends of the Lawn DLC pack. Very, very much looking forward to this. This looks quite promising indeed. Tons and tons of goodies. There's also some other tiny little elements added and sprinkled here and there. Like, for example, the level cap for the characters is going to be raised to 40. On top of that, some new achievements and such, of course, to address some of the new changes that have been implemented and such. And I think that this is, again, very, very cool. We're getting a very large DLC pack this time. The last DLC that we got was cool, but it was a little bit smaller than what we have come to expect. This, again, seems to be like a very big step forward. 7 characters, lots and lots of upgrades to the garden ops, lots of customization, lots of elements within the customization that are going to be added. So I'm very much looking forward to trying this out. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Of course, if you guys enjoyed the video, please thumbs up the video, share it with your family and friends, favorite it as well, and let me know what you guys are most excited about for the Legends of the Lawn DLC pack. I've said that differently every single time because I love that name. That name is awesome. Seriously. All right. I'll see you later, alligators. Bye-bye.